Welcome to Startup with Poland, where we take a deep dive into the startup ecosystem in Poland and speak with some key players who are doing their bit to fuel that ecosystem. My name is Tessa McIver and I am your host. My guest today is Michael Chaffe, CEO at Wolf Summit. Wolf Summit is one of the top startup conferences in the CEE region. Originally from London, Mike has been in Poland for 12 years now and got into running one of Poland's biggest startup conferences after an initial career in diving and then as an investor. The Wolf Summit conference takes place in various forms each year and has to date been held in Warsaw, Wroclaw, Vienna and London. From my personal perspective, I can say that it's a real focal point of the startup ecosystem's calendar events, and whilst attending, I not only look forward to meeting new people, but always manage to catch up with many key ecosystem players. Welcome, Mike.
Hey Tess, great to be invited and great to see you as always, so thanks for the invitation.
Mike, so before I ask you more about Wolf Summit and the startup ecosystem in Poland, I want to ask you a question which I am repeatedly asked, which is, why Poland? What does Poland have that the UK, your original hometown and home country, have?
So, first and foremost, it's two children, so if you, I've got an 11-year-old soon-to-be daughter and a 5-year-old son here. So in essence, the reason that I've been here on and off for the last 12 years is, it's thanks to my amazing kids. So as you know, Tess, before I got into the venture space, I was in the oil and gas industry for over a decade. And that involved flying out to the Middle East, Southeast Asia, East Asia, generally spending a couple of months working on a vessel in the oil and gas sector as a diver, and then I would come back to Poland in between my jobs to spend time with the family. And obviously 2017 is when I started working for a UK-based angel syndicate. And then 2 years on from that, as you know, we acquired Wolf Summit. And we've just been building the brand and the global footprint since.
Great, quite a diverse background certainly there, but great that it's brought you to where you are now and to Wolf Summit, and obviously to the kids, congratulations. But tell me more about Wolf Summit, like what actually is the aim of the event?
So the aim of Wolf Summit, as you know, originally the event was founded by Piotr, Basha and Marek Piasek, so husband and wife plus husband's brother trio, so to speak, and they were inspired from Web Summit. So when I was in discussions with Piotr, he said, look, we attended one of the Web Summit events in Ireland. We were so inspired and we saw a need for that that type of event in Central and Eastern Europe, and that's why they initially launched Wolf Summit in 2015. Now, when we acquired it, myself alongside some investors and business partners, we acquired the event in 2019. The initial conversations that I had with Piotr were based around building like an angel syndicate, linking up UK and Western European investors and the top, the rising stars of Central and Eastern Europe's, startup community. So Piotr, being the, great salesman that he is, managed to just sell us the business instead of, striking the JV or collaboration. And when we acquired it in July of 2019, we were a few months before our first event as the new ownership. So October 2019, Palace of Culture and Science, as we all know, in Warsaw, we held the first event as the new management. And I can tell you it was one of the most stressful periods of my life, and I've had quite a few of those. But thanks to the amazing effort of a small and very energetic team that are from Wrocław. So back in those days, we had a group of people that not all of them are still with us, but their effort and sheer resilience managed to pull the event off so well that we wrapped up the event. We were at the post-event team debrief meal, full of energy and, passion to carry it forward. So we got stuck straight into organising the next event, which was due to take place in March of 2020. As we all know, COVID struck, another mad panic. 8 days before the event was due to happen in Warsaw, the Polish government basically banned all mass gatherings. So we managed to pivot the event to a fully virtual variant with the help of Hopin platform. So quite a famous startup from the UK. I'm sure many of the listeners will have heard of them. And we managed to pull off a virtual event in that space of time, which went down really well, very well received by sponsors and community, both. So we trundled along through the COVID period, organising our event in a virtual variant. When the circumstances permitted, I believe October 2021 was the first time. No, actually, that's not right. It was March 2021. We held a hybrid event in Warsaw again. So it was a small physical gathering and then many more people online. And then in October of 2021, we brought the event to Wroclaw for the first time, where we have been since. Now, during that period of learning how to organise virtual events and hybrid events under pressure, we also branched out into virtual events and hybrid events as a service. So we won clients such as United Nations, the City of Vienna, Vienna Energy Forum, Panasonic, to name just a few big organisations that we started to work with. And it provided a very vital revenue stream for us during the challenging years of COVID.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember attending those events back in 2019 and 2020, and it was amazing how you did manage in such a short space of time to turn the event into a virtual event. And, kudos for that. You've also in recent years taken Wolf Summit out of Poland. You've been in Vienna, you've been in London. I mean, why is that? Are you trying to give more visibility to Polish startups abroad, or, what's the aim of that decision?
So, yeah, that's absolutely right, Tess. So in October last year, we held our first overseas physical event in Vienna. So Vienna was the first logical choice because there's two main reasons. City of Vienna and Vienna Business Agency have a huge political weight behind focusing on Central and Eastern Europe. So presenting Vienna as the go-to destination, first choice for any founders that are looking to expand into DACH and indeed, internationally. Yeah. So Vienna makes perfect sense. So we had a lot of support from the organisations in Vienna to bring Wolf Summit to Vienna. Plus, it's only 4 to 5 hours away from Wrocław. So logistically, to dip our toes into going global as organisers, it made a lot of sense. And thank goodness it went down spectacularly. And off the back of the success of Vienna, we decided to get a little bit more, adventurous and chose London as our next overseas destination. So we've got, deep ties with the Department for Business and Trade, as they're now coined. So London was the next logical choice. Plus, it is the current, capital for early stage investment in Europe. So we, again, I wouldn't say that it's purely for the Polish startups. What Wolf Summit represents, and this is, direct feedback from our partners from Asia, for example. The Central and Eastern European region is so fragmented, and there's so many different countries in a small geographical area. By working with us, we can cover the whole of Central and Eastern Europe, and our partners get to interact with a diverse mix of founders from across the region at one event. So that's our real USP. So taking the event to London and giving all of these founders the opportunity to meet with institutional. So the edition that we took to London was Alpha Wolves, which is our LPGP scale-up focused event. Uh-huh. So giving all of the founders from Central and Eastern Europe the opportunity to meet with both institutional investors all the way down to angel investors and incubators, accelerators, was very valuable for them. And it, again, thankfully, it went down spectacularly. So we're now considering, 2024 destinations. not just confined to Europe, but potentially outside of Europe as well.
Oh, that's exciting. So I'll be looking out to see where you're going next. But Mike, I mean, certainly from as an attendee of the Wolf Summit in various locations and at various different times, I mean, one of the big focuses is the great pitch competition. And, one of the most exciting parts, I certainly find it really exciting to see, what new technologies and, new startups are on the scene. But how have you seen that competition evolve? I mean, have you seen a lot of difference in the level of that the startups are showing, or indeed in the types of technologies that they're creating? What's your take on that?
So I personally, having seen the pitch contest since over the last four years, I would say my subjective opinion and takeaway is that the geographical composition of the finalists has broadened much more. So when we initially acquired the summit, very much, majority of applicants were from Poland. So as time has gone ahead, and during the COVID period when we were organising the event in a virtual format, I think in 2021, the second highest number of applicants were actually from the US.
Oh, so wow.
all of a sudden we had US startups pitching in a Poland-based innovation conference. So that would be my subjective opinion, is that the geographical representation of startups has expanded, which I'm very happy to see. Last pitch contest was in May in Wroclaw, and a Croatian startup called Circuit Mess, they won the Great Pitch Contest. And again, happy to see that it's a Central Eastern European founder, and that we're also branching out from Central and Eastern Europe into the global innovation ecosystem.
Yeah, no, well, I think certainly the whole CEE region is becoming more visible globally, which is great to see, and obviously attracting tech talent from all over the world. So that's well, I'm interested and pleased to hear that actually you've been receiving such a diverse applications from all over the world for the competition. But if you had a crystal ball, I always like doing a bit of crystal ball gazing. How do you see? I mean, let's say CE rather than just Poland. How do you see the region's startup ecosystem developing, in the next 5-10 years? What would be your predictions?
I truly believe that Central and Eastern Europe is going to spearhead, the major gains and accomplishments in the innovation sphere. Just look at the, sheer number of STEM graduates that come, particularly from Poland, but equally Romania and various other countries within Central and Eastern Europe. I think that's, on the global stage, Central and Eastern Europe is going to become more and more in ways a trailblazer, spearheading the innovation space. So that's my prediction for the next 10 years onwards.
Okay, well, we'll be looking closely to see if that prediction comes true. I think there are a lot of elements that do add to the mix that indeed could see that prediction becoming a reality in the next years. Mike, finally, I'm really interested, when I knew your background, but when I was looking at your LinkedIn profile ahead of this meeting, to see your deep diving background. And I sort of was thinking, on one hand, that's so different from what you're doing now. However, I thought there probably are quite some similarities with, the event space, the startup ecosystem, and your previous career. What do you think? Do you see some similarities?
Definitely. And I was actually pondering this recently in a discussion with somebody else. And I feel the real, if we talk about the value that I brought from my previous, occupation as a deep sea diver to the event space and the, internal team functioning of the business. And I feel that the main crossover was that when I was in that industry, I would spend up to 28 days with 8 other men. Sorry, but in the industry, there's very, very few women working because of the conditions and how, other reasons. But you can imagine 30 days in a confined chamber with 9 guys, okay, in Like, imagine being on imagine being on an intercity train, but a sleeping compartment for 30 days. So, that's the closest example I can give you, Tess, of how it feels to work in the chamber. So I've worked with everything from former special forces operatives, French foreign legionnaires, musicians, chefs, artists, the full spectrum of characters. Some of the times in the chamber were pleasant. Other times were absolute hell. You're just waiting for the 28 days to finish to open the door and just run away from these people. And I feel that, having that experience of working with groups of people, coming to work, building a team that supports events, bearing in mind that events are very fast-paced, high-stress moments right before the events.
Yep. You
can, I had the ability to sort of step back and just patiently look at the bigger picture. And I feel that was a very vital skill in helping us navigate the events industry during COVID and equally the recent difficulties that we're facing.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that. Well, Mike, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure to talk to you. Good luck with the next editions of Wolf Summit. I'm definitely going to be looking out to see where in the world the event goes, and I'm sure we'll be following in attendance. But, it's been great what you've done so far. And, yeah, good luck with the future.
Great. Thanks a lot, Tess.
Thank you. So thank you so much to our listeners and viewers. See you next time.